Well, haven't we all forgotten to turn the tap off or feed the cat, maybe even locked ourselves out because we've forgotten our keys? Well, according to a new study by Sight Station Fashion Reading Glasses, the nation's memories could do with a bit of work. To help, I'm joined by Mark Channon, who is recognised as a Grand Master of Memory by the World Memory Sport Council. Well, firstly, Mark, can you just explain that? What is a Grand Master of Memory?
It was actually something we started back in 1995, and I was one of the first Grand Masters. And the way you get this title is you compete in the memory competitions, and if you reach a certain score, then they give you the title. So we were doing things back then like memorising a 1,000-digit number. I did like 744, so that qualified as a Grandmaster score. And we do other things as well, like memorise cars, memorise names and faces, etc. So that's basically how you get the title. You have to memorise a ton of stuff in competition.
Well, I don't think I would be very good at that. And also the study shows that most of us wouldn't be very good at that. What were some of the interesting things to come out of this study about our memories?
So one of the things that really stood out for me was the fact that the average person misplaces 728 items in a year. That blew me away. I was like, 728? And we also spend a day and a half just looking for things out of that year. So that was quite astounding, actually. The other thing that was really interesting is how we perceive our memories. So across the UK, 46% of people actually believe that their memories are average to terrible. So we don't rate our memories that highly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with that figure, actually, because I would rate mine as absolutely hopeless. But why do you think so many of us are bad at remembering things? It shouldn't be that hard, surely.
I think if I was to take a guess, it comes down to a couple of things. One is what we pay attention to. And everyone instinctively knows when you're interested in something, it becomes more memorable. However, the things that we tend to forget, maybe where we put things, at that point, it's not maybe interesting or important to us. So I think that's one of the reasons we forget things. And the second reason is that we just haven't made strong connections to the information. So as part of the Sight Station study, they pulled out that one of the hardest things that people have trouble remembering is names. For example, and that's because when you hear a name, sometimes people aren't making strong connections. So there's a few techniques that you can use to help you be better at remembering names.
Okay, I would like that technique because that is one of my absolute weak points in life. I never remember names.
Yeah, so it's actually, there's two things that you do. The first thing is that you look at a person and you go, what's interesting about them or what's different? Never tell them. Okay, so, but in your mind, you're almost creating a picture of that person. And then you hear their name and you go, oh, it's Katie. And then so you have a picture for Katie. Now, when you've been doing this years, as I have, you tend to just build up pictures which represent names. But in the beginning, that can be a bit of a challenge. But you just kind of play with it and you make a game out of it. And so I might imagine maybe whiskers of a cat.
Great.
And then you make a connection with that person. So I never tell the person the thing that you're imagining, obviously.
Yeah, names is obviously a really big thing. That's a really good technique as well. But what were some of the other things from the study in terms of what we forget? I imagine things like birthdays and anniversaries are pretty bad.
Yeah, so things like dates and facts and figures, random facts we forget all the time. Things that happened over 5 years ago. So things that happened in the distant past we tend to forget as well. So in terms of random facts, there's also a few things that we can do to be better at remembering them. Nowadays, I guess from the study, it showed that a lot of people are resorting just to writing lists. So 36% of people are just making lists all the time. And lists are useful. However, if you want to take your memory to the next level, you can use what's called a mental filing system. Sometimes they're also called a memory palace. And it's where you use something you know well, like parts of your body or items around your home, and then you use your imagination to remember information. So I can give you an example of this if you want to play along.
Yeah. Absolutely. Test me.
Okay, good. So what we'll use is the 5 items that people misplace the most.
Right.
Okay. All you have to do is just imagine what I say to you in your mind really clearly, and hopefully you'll remember the 5 things. Mm-hmm. And it will stay with you not just for a day, but for a week and maybe even a month. So I apologise in advance. So here we go. So imagine you stand on some door keys. and you can feel the door keys in between your toes, and they're quite cold.
There they are. Yeah.
Now imagine I take a long white sock. There's only one, because people tend to misplace just one sock.
Of course.
Okay, and it's white. And then I start tying your knees together with this sock. Where's this going?
That's very interesting.
The next item are reading glasses. So let's imagine you have reading glasses on your thighs. Now, to make this stand out, let's imagine these reading glasses have zebra print on them. So they're quite trendy reading glasses.
Love them.
Okay. Now, imagine the next thing is a remote control, and you're going to sit down on the remote control. So it's actually on your behind.
Yep.
Okay.
I've done it.
It's a large remote control. And then next, finally, the fifth item is a mobile phone. So imagine that you have a gigantic mobile phone attached to your waist, maybe like those 80s mobile phones, like the bricks. Okay, so hopefully,
Right.
if that's worked, you'll remember all five. So let's test you out. So what's on your feet?
Okay. Keys.
Yeah, good, excellent. What's on your
A
knees?
sock.
Yeah, superb. What's on your thighs?
Reading glasses.
Brilliant. What's on your behind?
Remote control.
And what's on your sides?
A really big 80s cell phone.
Yeah, brilliant.
Woohoo! Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. I've got a memory after all. It was just hidden for all these years. Fantastic. Well, those are some absolutely phenomenal memory tips. Where can people go for more information about all of this?
Okay, so if you want some more information, you go to sitestation.com, and there's lots of facts there that tell you more about how forgetful we are as a nation, but also how to improve your memory.
Fantastic. Mark Channon, thank you very much for improving my memory and hopefully the memories of our listeners as well. Thanks for joining us.
Brilliant. Thanks, Katie.